Luxury Travel Docks here today, and what an honor. We surprised a dear friend, Harry Lockhead, World War II veteran, here in New Jersey today, and wanted to take some time to not only thank him for his service, but as is tradition with Harry, we have a Black Russian, which we affectionately now call a naked warrior. Harry was a World War II veteran in the Pacific Theater in Japan. He was one of the original UDTs in UDT 20, but before that, technically X-ray, correct?
X-ray.
And 93 years young.
Right. Still counting.
So, to what do you attribute your longevity?
No smoking and no fast foods.
And if you had to give advice to the youth of today about how to lead a productive life, what would you say?
Hard work.
Hard work. So a little bit of your background. How did you enlist in the military in World War II?
Well, I was in high school and the war came on and I told my mother I want to get on the Navy. And at that time, at 17, you had to get your parents' permission to enlist. And they said, well, you got to get an education. I said, what good am I in a rice paddy with a diploma in my pocket? Let's get the war over and then I'll get an education. So she signed and we went in.
And so, tell us how your tour, so to speak, in your service in the Navy went, and how you became one of the original UDTs.
Well, what do you want? The whole history?
The abbreviated highlights would be good. We don't have your photo album, which I would love to go through at some point, but you have some rationale behind you wanting to do more in your service to the military. Tell folks a little bit about that.
Well, I went in, my first ship was a cargo ship. We took cargo into starting back in Samoa, Marianos, Gilberts and the Marshalls. Had a couple of battles. Lost that ship, got another one, which was a APD, which was an auxiliary personnel attack. And we took a company of Marines into Tarawa. And what I saw there, I knew damn well when they asked that somebody should have to swim in for reconnaissance, I said, I'll be your volunteer. And I was one of the first 120 that volunteered out of the fleet to start UDT.
And originally you were part of X-ray, correct?
The first 120 men that volunteered was divided into 6 teams. Abel, Baker, Charlie, Fox, William, and X-ray. I was in X-ray. We were the first 120 UDT men.
And were there other UDT units? Weren't there some on the East Coast of the United States at that time?
They started in Fort Pierce, which I had nothing to do with. But we were the first on Maui.
On Maui. And so how did UDT X-ray evolve into UDT 20?
Well, the 6 teams that I mentioned, we worked together. We found out that one team could not clear a beach. So it took 4 teams to do a job. So the people in Fort Pierce found out that they needed 100-man teams, not 20-man teams. So they made 100-man teams with 4 platoons, as we worked 4 teams together. So that's how the 100-man team started.
And then what was your final mission as you...
The final mission? I was assigned to enter Japan. Only my best friend saved it by dropping a bomb.
And when you first heard about the bomb, or you first steamed into?
Didn't know what it was.
And so, tell the folks about your entry into Japan as far as into the harbor, so to speak.
Well, we were in Tokyo Bay. I went into the Yokosuka Naval Base with, I believe, 2 other teams. I believe 18, 19, and 20 went into Yokosuka. Those 2 teams, 18 and 19, stayed in there and just exploded all their, so they couldn't use any torpedoes, this, that, and the other thing. They took all of the ordnance and destroyed it. And Team 20 was sent to the northern island of Hokkaido because there was a naval training school and shipbuilding in Hokkaido, in the city of Hakodate. So we went up there, we found out that the shipbuilding was actually fishing boats. They had nothing to do with the war, and all of the students in the Naval Academy there in Hakodate had been discharged and left. There was only a dozen officers or so forth. So I took the head officer from the naval base out to our ship that brought us into Tokyo, and they surrendered the northern island of Hokkaido to UDT 20.
Wow. Amazing. On first weekend of November, I will have the honor and privilege of being your guest at the UDT SEAL Museum. And as Michelle likes to say to end all her videos, make meaningful and healthy travel happen. Anytime I'm around you, it's meaningful. A toast to you and all those who serve.
Thank you.
And never forget perishable national treasures like Mr. Harry Lockhead. Thank you.
Thanks very much.